In today's video, we're going to take another look at probably the most important Joomla extension that you should add to every Joomla site, and that is Akeeba Backup. So we're going to take a look at it today and revisit all the settings that you can have in the free version and the pro version. Hey there, Joomla fans. Tim Davis here. I'm a Joomla fan too. Thanks for tuning in to Watch Me Work live stream number 223 here on the Basic Joomla Tutorials channel, where you know that I show you my favorite extensions, tools, and tips for building and maintaining Joomla sites. I also work on Joomla sites, build them, maintain them, and migrate them to Joomla 4 and Joomla 5 coming up soon. So if you're looking to hire someone short-term or long-term, just get you out of a spot, drop me an email, tim@cybersalt.com, and let's talk. Today's video is brought to you by our channel sponsor, mysites.guru. Do you have a Joomla site? Of course you do. Otherwise, why are you watching this? Well, maybe you want to find out more about Joomla. If you want to find out a lot about Joomla, head on over to mysites.guru. Get a free site audit for your Joomla site. And while you're there, you can check out all the tools and information that will save you time and money managing one or multiple Joomla sites. Subscribe with the coupon code BASICJoomla. You get your first month free. You get a free month anyways. But anyways, why not? Why not drop the name, right? All right. As you can see, I didn't remember till just before going live to change the channel. Seriously, change the background picture for this week. So as usual, as last week, there I am getting a trophy after winning a race in my demo truck. So remember, if you've got a picture 1920 by 1080. Or at least 1920 wide and at least 1080, then that, actually, if you edit and crop it to that, that'd be great. Send it, I'll use it in the background on my, on a live stream here. All right, hello to Bjorn, Valerie, Ivor. I think that Imran's in there somewhere too. Imran actually messaged me just before, asked me if there's no live stream today, and I said, I'm just lining it up. All right, so let's turn our attention to the screen and we will get going here. I'm already logged into the back end of a Joomla 4 site, and there's a couple ways to get Akeeba. Let's go to System, and we'll go to Manage, and we'll go to Install Extensions, and we're going to go install from the web. And it's super easy because Akeeba has the highest number of reviews and ranking here on the Joomla extension directory. So it's the first one there. We will click on it and we'll click install. Now I find that the installing from the web, hello Alan, good to see you. See, now installing from the web is not always working. And it works for some extensions and others, and on some sites and not. So if it doesn't work for you, we'll go another way. To do that, go to akeeba.com. Paste that in chat here. Okay. And we're just going to go to download. We will download the core version, the free version, and for Joomla 4, it's 9.7.1. I also have the pro version, and we will look at that later on, but let's just download the core. Download it, and let's put it somewhere on our... I'm going to download this to the... where I put Akeeba stuff on my computer here. I already have it. Oh, I'm going to replace that. Great. Now we will go to upload package file. Now we're going to browse where that was on a computer, but actually up here in Chrome browser, I've got my downloads. I can click there, and I'm just going to drag the... Oh, you can't see that. It's not capturing on the screen. Wow. I clicked up in the top right, and I'm dragging what I just downloaded into the space, and it will upload. All right, now it's working. Now, so let's go to Components, Akeeba Backup for Joomla, and we'll go to Control Panel. And I'm going to, first of all, it likes to configure itself, so it runs through the configuration wizard, and we will just let it do that. Now, in the past, I keep forgetting to look at options and before I go into settings and try things. And so I will look at options next as soon as this configuration wizard is done running. The reason I picked this topic today is because Akeeba really saved my bacon last night. I was installing an extension that broke a site, and I went to restore that site off of my server. I have a cron backup on my servers. My company has 3 servers that I've got people hosted on, my sites on, and lo and behold, it looked like the site that I wanted to restore was not being backed up by Cronus, and I had not noticed that. Anyway, so I thought, oh, and wait a second, I actually have this site backing up every day, and it backs up to my Dropbox using Akeeba Backup. So that was really, really good, because what I did was I went and then I realized, oh, you know what? I could still access the back end of the site, even though the front end was broken. Parts of it. So I went and I restored an Akeeba Backup. I actually pulled it back from Dropbox onto the server, very easy, and restored it, and the site was fixed, and that was really good. Later on I found out I couldn't see that site in a Cronus backup because of permissions. It was there, I just had no access to it. So I really like Akeeba Backup because I think that everybody should have a backup of their site in their own possession, because even if something happens at the hosting company, they just say, oh, we're so sorry, but under the terms and conditions, you're responsible for your own backup. So hello, Chris. And so let me just pop out chat here, because I want to have that a little bit handier for me to see. There we go. I don't know if I'm gonna change my screen alignment here. There we go. All right, so it has been backed up. So let's go to configuration. Hasn't backed up. It finished the configuration wizard. Bjorn says you can also use it as a URL download if you take out the raw at the end of Akeeba.com download. Yes. Here's what Bjorn is saying. Back here in the download, if I right-click on this link, you'll see down in the bottom, you can't see that on the screen capture anymore, but here, this is what I'll do. I'm going to copy the link address, and in a new tab, I'm going to paste it. Now, up here, you see how the URL is, there's the URL of the download, core-zip, and then there's a .raw on the end. Bjorn has pointed out that if you take the .raw off and copy that, in the back end here, let's just go here, open a new tab. If we go to install extensions, install from URL, if you pasted that URL there, it would actually install it right on the site. So that's a really good tip. Yeah, there's Imran. Imran, I told everyone that you were wondering when it started, so I figured you'd be here soon. Anyway, so you could install Akeeba from the URL. All right, so now, what was I going to look at first? Let's just close this configuration. Let's look at our options that we have here. Let's go control panel, and here's options. Yeah, Valerie, that is a really nice tip. If you're downloading a pro extension or an extension that you have a membership for, you probably can't use the URL tool feature for installing, because they would be behind. You could only download if you're logged in and your license. There's a transaction saying, yeah, this person has a license. Here's their username, or here's their license code. But a lot of the extensions that are free, when you go to download, if you see that URL and it's just straightforward like a file that you're downloading, you can do that and you skip the download and upload. All right. Yeah, so here we are in options. Now, enable anonymous PHP, MySQL, and Joomla version reporting. So that's probably just letting Nick from Akeeba know that how things are being used. He keeps track of stats there. Date format. This is the date format that gets put into the backup file so that you can see when it was backed up. And it's interesting. There's no. Let's go toggle inline help up here at the top right. Aha! I'm not surprised that Nick has all this done here. So you can put in change how the start date time of backups is displayed, and you can leave blank to use the default formatting. But if you wanted something super fancy, you could put in information from PHP's date function, and he has a link here in order to see what that would be. So local time and managed backups, time zone suffix. All right, if you want the time zone put in a suffix, or a GMT offset, or none. We've got lots of help that we can read here. Show the delete everything before extraction option. Should I give users restoring a site the option to delete everything before extracting an archive? This option only applies to the professional version of the software. Extremely dangerous. Read the documentation very carefully before enabling it. If you use this feature during restoration, you are waiving any right to request support and assume all responsibility and liability. So I think what that is show the delete everything before extraction. I think what that does is it, when you're restoring a site where the site is, if you're restoring Akeeba to a place where the site already is, you're wiping out all the files where it's going. So, you know, don't do that unless you really have to. Use encryption. Configuration settings are encrypted. Okay. Front-end backup. Enable legacy front-end backup API remote cron. So one of the things that you want to set up Akeeba to do is to back up regularly. Now, if you were to remember to do it every day, then that's great. And if that's something that you like doing over coffee, then why not? But if you have a lot of sites, or just you want to do other things while you're having your morning coffee, then you're going to want to run Akeeba on a cron, so cron job, so that it just runs regularly, and you always have a current backup. All right, so again, these options only apply to Akeeba Backup Professional. All right, so that's something that we will look at later on about how to run Akeeba on a cron. Stuck back out, check for failed backups. All right, don't touch this value unless you know what you're doing. And then send email to this address. Yes, Bjorn says, hello, Michael. Good to see you. Bjorn says, the only bummer with Akeeba Backup and mysites.guru is no regular backups unless pro version of Akeeba Backup. Yes, in mysites.guru, you can set up a cron job there and have it run a backup, but only if you're using the pro version. All right. And then here's emails for getting, if you're getting an email upon completion of a cron backup. All right, and now push notifications. Here you can configure push notifications for backup events be sent directly to your phone, tablet, notebook, or desktop computer. You need to download the free of charge third-party application Pushbullet first. All right, so if you want your phone to go bing bong, or whatever your phone does when you do a backup, go ahead and ask for desktop notification. Oh, go ahead and get your push notifications on. And also, if you want desktop notifications, that will appear in your browser. And here's permissions, which if you have different people using the back end of your site, you can give them access to some of your Akeeba backup settings, or all of them, or none of them. All right, hey, there we go. I made it through options. All right, so that's, oh, now we're back in global configuration. That's interesting. Yeah, let's close. What the heck is going on here? All right, let's just go to components and Akeeba Backup and control panel. Okay, now we're here. So as we look at the control panel here in this iteration of Akeeba Backup, we have one-click backups, and here we have a default backup profile. So right out of the box, if you want to just quickly make a backup of your Joomla site, you just have to click that, and it will be off to the races. And it's going to go and embed the installer in the archive. It's going to back up your database. It's going to back up your files. And out of the box, it's very reliable, the settings that you would want to use. And there you go. Your site is backed up. Now we go back to control panel. Let's just go to manage backups, and we'll see. Okay, a little note here of how to restore backups. And we'll talk about that another time. We've looked at that before in the channel. And so here's our backup taken on Wednesday, September 27th at 18:22 UTC. the date UTC, the time it took to run that backup, the size of it, the profile that ran it, and its status. It's okay. Now, you can also download your backup. However, you're going to get a message here that says, recommend closing this dialog using FTP binary transfer mode or SFTP to download your backup archives. Yeah, so sometimes, and I have had this happen, sometimes downloading the archive through the browser breaks it. But just because of, I guess, the method that's being calling it and the transfer and putting it back together, and I don't know. Anyway, so it's best to download your backup through a FTP program, or go into your control panel of your web hosting, go to your file manager and download it to your computer and save it. And we'll see in the Pro version, you can just actually automatically send this places. But there you go. Ivor says he's never had any problems with the download. That's good. Yeah, and there's been times where clients have, or people have asked me to help them with their site, and I just couldn't get it going on their hosting, or I didn't have their hosting control panel access. So I thought, well, let's just try it. And I'll download the Akeeba Backup through the browser and put it on my server, and many times it works. I have had times where it didn't, but okay. Now, basic operations in Akeeba Backup now. All right, so this is like the default backup profile, except that you can go here and change the name. Well, sorry, here's your profile. You can go change the short description. You can make a comment, whatever you're doing manually. Manage your backups. We already saw that. And then we have configuration and we have profiles. And that's good. Now, so configuration. So you've got the profile description. And again, notice active profile number 1. All right, so these profile, you can set up profiles in Akeeba Backup to do different things, different kinds of backups, have just different configurations, and have different, and save them as a profile, and then therefore you can do some cool things, which we'll talk about along the way. But all right, so let's just change this. I'll just default backup. Yes, this is it. That's the default. All right, so let's save, and profile description. Oh, actually, that didn't change. Oh, bummer. Profile description. Maybe I have to change that in the actual profile. I can change it there. Oh, okay. Well, we'll look at that later on. Bjorn says I should change the default location of backup storage. Yes. Read the yellow warning on the right side. Yes, I was going to get to that, Bjorn, because, and we can do that with this next setting here, which shows the output directory. Now, when you go to run a backup, let's see, we'll go backup now. See this box here? Akeeba Backup may not work as expected. Akeeba Backup detected the following potential problems. Default output directory in use. Now, the reason for this warning is because that if you're using the default output directory, you're giving, that's public knowledge to the bad people who are always trying to hack sites. And it's not that there's anything wrong with Akeeba Backup or Joomla, but really the less information that hackers have, the better your security. So remember, talk about security being like the rivets on an airplane. If there's a loose rivet, it's like, that's not ideal. But if there's 3, it's like, oh, that's not great. Eventually the loose rivets are going to cause you big problems, and you don't want any loose rivets. And so with security for our websites, we just want to make sure every rivet is tight. So what Nick is suggesting here is that instead of backing up Akeeba to the default place that the whole world knows about, make a special place where you can back up yours. As Michael has said there in chat. Chris Holfiger says he would use the full Monty when it comes to logging things. Warning and error. You would not use the full Monty when it comes to logging things. Warning and error should be enough. And Ivor says, yeah, it's a problem if you lose all the content on the site. So what we'll do here is let me just open this up on on just off screen here. I'm going to log in the control panel. All right, and I'm going to go to list accounts, and this is, what is this? I'm in basic Joomla. All right, and now I'm going to bring over the control panel, hosting control panel for basic Joomla. So I'm going to go to file, go to my file manager. I'm going to go to the folder where this Joomla install is. That's j4core.basicjoomla, and I'm going to make a folder inside of the root where this backup will go. All right, so let's just make a folder plus, and let's just call it better backup location. All right, better backup location. All right, I create that new folder, and Michael says the auto backs up to OneDrive as well. Yes, and we'll see that in the Pro version. All right, so we can go back to our settings here. Let's click back here. Oh, let's go refresh. All right, so output directory. Let's go back to now because we're doing this for the default backup profile, we could change it here, but let's change it as just in the settings for Akeeba. To do that, we'll go back to control panel. And no, I guess I was in the right place. Go to configuration, output directory. Over here, we're going to check this little folder. And now we're going to go back to where we want to put this. So let's go back to the root folder. And now we have, oh, look, there we go, better backup location. I select that and I say, yeah, let's use that location. And that's where it will go. Okay, so logging level, all information in debug or just errors and warnings. So if everything, and to, this is a sec here, I need to uncover that. Let's see, yeah, as Chris said, warning and errors should be enough. Yeah, you don't need to see what worked. You're really only interested in seeing what didn't work. So we can do this, errors and warnings. This will also keep your log files down smaller too if you're running often on your site. And now look at here, backup type. You can back up your whole site, or you can back up the site database only. This is really a handy feature because if you're making different profiles, you can have a profile that backs up your whole site once a day. But let's say that you have a lot of people that are placing orders on a site for products, or a lot of people that are adding content. They're not adding extensions. And they're not necessarily, they might be uploading images for articles. But let's say you think, oh, you know what? I don't want to just do one backup a day. I want to back up my database every 4 hours just in case something happens. So I'm not, if you back up at 5 in the morning and your site, something happens at 8 in the evening and you want to restore, well, there you've got 15 hours of stuff that's lost. But if you're backing up your database every hour or every 4 hours, you mitigate the loss of data, even though you might lose some images. So you have those two options here, backup type. Client-side implementation of minimum execution time. When this box is unchecked and the backup step finishes in less time than the configured minimum execution time, Akeeba Backup will have the server wait until that time is reached. This may cause some very restrictive servers to kill your backup. This is because in the free version, when you're running backup, you have to have your window open. All right. And then this has something to do with the execution time for that. If you have a very restrictive server, kill your backup. Checking this box will implement the waiting period on the browser working around this limitation. This option only applies to back-end backups. All right. Got some chat happening here. Yes, now Chris always uses a folder outside of the web root. That's really a good tip too. It's something that I haven't done, but I knew was possible. But it does make sense. And the reason why what Chris is suggesting makes sense is is that, you know, you're less likely to accidentally delete every folder in the root of your web hosting than just the folder where your Joomla site is. So for instance, so what Chris is saying here is that instead of me putting it in J4 Core Basic Joomla and Better Backups, I could put it right up here in Home and have it just setting in the root. It's also nice too because that will not affect that will also not get in the way of other things that you're doing. So if you're restoring an Akeeba backup and you upload the backup, when you do the restore, it deletes what you've uploaded. And if you've got a big one that you want to restore, it can be nice to just copy it over and restore it from somewhere, I think. But yeah. So we could do that and put that in this location here. Let's go right back to the root here. Can't go back any farther than that. Yeah, can't see that. So there we go. So we can put it there and we can click go. Yeah, we use that. All right. Yeah, so with this client side, that would be something if you're having problems with your backup running while your Windows or while your browser is open. All right. Now, what do you want to back up? Native MySQL backup engine. There you go. That's no other options, so that's what we're going to be using. Question there. Yes, yeah, Valerie, yes, it is only in the Pro version. Remember when we're chatting too, sometimes people are a few seconds off depending on if they've paused or gone away or different things like that. Okay, so blank out the username password. Removes the username and password of the database connections from the backup. All right. Now, the downside of this is that you have to have those to put in if you're restoring. The upside is that if someone gets a hold of your backup, they can't see. They would have to put something in for themselves for the database that they're restoring to. Generate extended inserts. If checked, the database dump will be made of extended insert statements, single statements to restore multiple rows of data. It is highly recommended that you keep this option enabled, as it will speed up the restoration process. Okay, if it's highly recommended, I'm going to leave it. Some of these other things I don't know, and that's why the connection wizard that you run at the beginning, or the setup wizard, it picks these and does something automatic. So I never touch these. All right, but certainly if you're having problems on your host, this might be something that you need to adjust. But again, the configuration wizard usually figures that out. So we'll just leave this here. All right, same with Smart Scanner. That's the only option there. I never change these, honestly. JPA format. Again, a bunch of stuff in here that I don't understand. But if you understand it and you want to change that, that's great. Again, Akeeba just works for me, and so I do that. Now, embedded restoration script. Again, Angie for Joomla sites, Angie for miscellaneous PHP applications. I don't really understand who Angie is fully, but it is something related to JPA files, and I don't know if this is something that Akeeba created or it's something that's out there and that they've adapted and they have a version for Joomla sites. I don't know. So again, I just leave this here. Now, if you want to password protect your archive, when you go to restore it, you can give it a password here as well. Don't forget to remember your password though. Now, obsolete records to keep. This speaks to the screen where backups are listed. And honestly, I usually just change this to 1, just so I can see when the last one that was obsolete was before. And that's just a quota management thing that's in that section. It will keep a list of how many times of the information of when backups were run. But even when they're obsolete, their files are gone. It's just a record that they took place. So I changed this to 1. How many active backups you're going to have, that is the count quota. And so I usually just go with a custom amount 3 when I do Akeeba Backup. And that means if I back up today, tomorrow, and the next day, on the next day after that, the next day, I'll have 3 backups that I can go back 3 days. If you have lots of space on your server, or you're uploading to a lot of uploading to Dropbox or to OneDrive, then you can do that. You can have as much space as you want. Oh, Ivor says JPA is faster than zip format for restore. Oh, nice. And zip format is offered later on in the Pro version. So enable size quota. Let's see. If we say yes, when activated, Akeeba Backup will erase old backup files if the total size of backup archives exceeds the value defined below. All right. Now, I don't see anywhere to set that size. Maybe we'll see it below here. But there's that option there that you can keep your backups from getting too big in size. Immer says, yes, sometimes some clients from marketplaces want the zip file as a delivery file. Yes. Well, and if you send someone a JPA file, there's not really anything out there reliable. Akeeba has a tool for unzipping, quote, unzipping or decompressing JPA files, but even Nick himself says it's not reliable and to use with caution and not recommended, and it's not maintained. So yeah, so it would be nice if someone were to say, oh, send me a zip of a backup of your site. Then in the Pro version, you could create a zip file and send it to them, because you will not open up, you'll be very challenged to open up a JPA file on your own computer. All right, so obsolete records to keep. Enable count quota. Akeeba Backup will erase old backup files if they are more than the limit defined below. So if you have more than 3 backups, it will delete this. Now, I saw someone the other day, and they hadn't changed this. I think they had the 50 backups. They were backing up to OneDrive or some uncommon backup storage place, and they had backups back to 2021. So I think they just didn't know how Akeeba's settings work. And I don't know if they are paying for all of these backups off of that service. They've just forgotten about it. Maybe it's not very much, but they definitely could get away with using less storage. All right. So, in fact, okay, so fine-tuning, I don't ever fine-tune. I just go with what's there. However, if you're having problems getting Akeeba working on your server, then you could definitely go in here and fine-tune. All right, so that takes care of the configuration for the backup profile. So let's save and close this. And just for fun, let's close this. Close. Now, this isn't really closing, is it? Okay, I'm going to just go back to Control Panel. All right, so I'm going to open this in a new tab. We're going to back that up. Emmer says he once got a backup file size over 10 gigabytes. Yes, and we'll see next how you can do some things to avoid having a backup that's too big. All right, so let's go back here. I'm going to do another backup, and just so that we can see how things get truncated out there. Yeah, 10 gigabytes, that would be a pretty big backup. All right, let's do one more here. Super quick with another sip of water. All right, so here we go. We go to manage backups, and now look what we have. We have the 3 most recent ones that were active, and the first one that we did is now obsolete. And if I want to deal with that, then I could, it's just obsolete, and the backup is not there. It's being deleted, but see, this is in italics, but the information is still there that it was done. And you can still view the log if that was helpful for you looking back. In here, you also have this option that you can, if you do a backup and it's super big and you want to change the settings so it doesn't back up as many things, you can always just click and you can go to actions, and then you can delete. You could delete the files, which would leave the record there, or else you could just delete everything. Yellow warning still there. Need an index file in the folder. Oh, okay, I'll take a look at that in a second. The other thing too is notice this column frozen. All of these are raindrops. All right. So if I were to freeze this record, make it a snowflake, that means this will be saved regardless of the quota settings. So let's suppose I did let's suppose the backup that I just ran now, I freeze that, and that, because that's good. I want to keep that to maybe go back to, even if I want it to in weeks times or months time, I just store it and it will be missed. I'll end up with 3 active ones, a frozen one, and a trash one. And the frozen one will eventually end up below. So that's a cool feature there too. What did Bjorn say here? Default backup. Whoops, no, that was a mistake. Imran said you unzip the file and collect the things apart. Yeah, break it up into little pieces. Let's go back here. Backup now. Default output directory in use. I thought that we changed that. Oh, it still is. Did I not save that? Let's just try this. Let's go back to here. Use. Oh, yeah, I want to use that. I want to save. Oh, the output directory keeps changing back here. Interesting. Let's just try this here. And save. For some reason, this is my changes to settings are not saving here. And I don't know why that's happening. Bjorn says I need a folder. Well, even here though, I'm selecting a folder. Backup location. Okay, that's the folder. Use. All right. Parent, host, better. And go save. But it just keeps going back to, although look at this. Here's /administrator / administrator. Something is a little bit wonky here. Let's try this. Let's go here. Now I'm going to take off the / at the beginning there and go use. All right. And save. All right. Well, this is the first time I've ever seen that not working. I don't know why, but that is where you would change that setting. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll just pretend that that works, because that is the first time ever in my life that I've seen that not work. Click go before use. Okay, that's here. Let's go to here. Let's go to better backup location. Go. No, I don't think that's it. Let's go save. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there. All right. Well, we will just have to see here what is going on as we proceed. All right. Let's close. Because also notice the setting did not change in the default backup profile either. This isn't the I don't know what's up with this Joomla 4 site, how fresh it is. I might have done something. All right. Let's go back to close here. Yeah, see, even closing is not going back to where I want. Yeah, Imran says create a second profile. This is not behaving itself though. If I go save and close, this is something as rotten Denmark. Clear the cache. Well, that's always something to try. Let's go there. Delete all, clear cache. Okay. Components, Akeeba Backup, profile configuration. Let's put that in there, save. No, it is not. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, there's something weird on the site. I agree. I agree. All right. Let's continue to look at the settings, even though I can't change them, and then I will just go ahead and install another Joomla 4 site very quickly. So, yeah, it's not the browser cache, Imran. I don't think the browser cache would do that because everything else is working. So, but we could do this. Let's just close that. I'll go Control Shift and R and force a refresh. And let's see here. Save. No, that's not it. Must not be a valid location. Yeah, it's possible. Let's just put in Akeeba Backup. Let's see if that does it. Nope, it's not. So it must be something goofy with my site. And I have been known to do goofy things with these basic demo sites here, but I've never seen that before. All right, we will. That will be an easy fix pretty soon. So let's just finish looking at the free settings here, and we will continue on. Or have we looked at all the free settings? Yeah, we have looked at all the free settings. Okay, so that's that. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into here, and I'm just going to very quickly go Softaculous Apps Installer, and I'm going to go to these outdated installations that show everything. Here's the J4 site. All right, and I'm just going to remove that. Now this will be interesting to see because when I remove this using Softaculous, we can go back to the file space to where this site is, and we can see that there were some things that were left. My Better Backup location folder was left, and the htaccess file was left, and user any and php any. So I don't even, let's just see view here. Yeah, and all that has is my PHP information in there. So let's go back to Softaculous and let's install a fresh Joomla install, just in case it's something that I did before. I'm going to install now. I want to install it to J4 Core. And now I need to go to this screen here, because I don't want you to see my password, because this is one that I use regularly on this site. So I'm going to do this, J4 Core, that's that, and that password here. Great. Control V, sort of like that is the username, and then that will be my password, and then I go install. All right. Now Softaculous has installed the site. That's good. Let's go to the administrator. All right, I'm logged in. Yes, I'll help Joomla. Let's go to global configuration. No, system. Install extensions. Let's go install from the web. Let's just try one more time to see if this works now. Install. No, couldn't see it. No problem. We will upload the file package again. Browse. We've got going to go to Joomla 4, Akeeba, and there is the core that we have installed. It's going to go through that configuration setup again when we run that. The configuration wizard. Yep. and we'll see if that fixes things. Otherwise, I do have another site that I can, I mean, I've got Akeeba on a lot of sites, so. Imran says, try to manage profile from control panel of Akeeba. Yeah, I could try that too. Let's go configuration. Now I'm going to do that and save. No. Let's go to J4 core here. Save. No. That is not, it's not liking it. That's, isn't that strange? All right, well, let's just do one thing here then. Let's go to profile. Let's go to control panel, profiles management, and let's configure that. See, that just takes us into there. Right, and so we should be able to change the name there, but we can't. Now, and even closing is not working. That is so strange. Well, all right. Well, let's see. If we go to control panel, to the profile management, we can actually make a new profile by copying this existing one and making some changes. And then we can go and we'll copy this. All right. And it did make a copy of a name, but that's two. So let's go into here. Here we can change the name, maybe. So profile number 2. Save and close. Yeah, that changed. First one, save and close. That changed. Now if we configure this, let's see if this second one we made works. No, and save and close is not getting us out here. I wonder, let's go F12. Do I, what? Oh, I got some errors here. Uncut reference. Cannot read properties of undefined reading parameters. Huh. Well, it says that there's 30 errors there. Michael just renewed Akeeba Backup and Admin Tools bundle before it expired next month. Oh, I didn't realize that. I've forgotten that they had a bundle. Put an index.html in the folder first. Okay, Bjorn keeps saying that, so we should probably do that. Better backup location. Let's go plus a folder. Let's put a file in there. Index.html. All right. Now we'll go back here. We will select this. We will go to, you know, no, when you change this, if there were certain permissions that were not right, Akeeba would tell you what to do. But let's see here. We're going to go to basic Joomla. Backup. Use that. All right. Save. Yeah, it's very interesting here too because this is not saying host in there. All right, let's try this somewhere we haven't gone for a while. Let's go into the basic Joomla site. All right, and that is here, and this is the site that we're looking at right here. All right, hey. Okay, so let's go components, Akeeba Backup, and go control panel. Yeah. Go configure. Now this is the pro version. Notice though that the output directory is site root /bkp. And if I change it to public HTML and use and save, oh, it went back to default output. Well, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? This almost to me feels like a mod security rule on my server. Site root, I'm going to copy that, save. Yeah, that's saved. Maybe it was, maybe it doesn't like going all the way out to the root. Root parent, save. That worked. Curious. Up one level. No. Access logs. Okay, let's go basic let's go public HTML. Let's go BKP. Use. Save. Interesting, interesting, interesting. If we go back to here, let's just try the output directory of this. Control V. Site root. Let's save. No, so something goofy is there. All right. What if I change the path directly on output file directory? Yeah, I did try that manually and it didn't work. So I don't know. So this feels server related to me. So let's just plug along here. Because here I have the pro version, and let's just go to control panel. And you'll see we have some other options that are here now. So this is Akeeba Backup Professional. We have, and let's just compare it back to here, control panel. We've got backup now, managed backups, configuration, and profiles. But here we have backup now, site transfer wizard, managed backups, configuration, and profiles management. So we get a couple of things here. Imran says create a folder. Yeah, I think though the problem too on this other site is that I can't even save. With the root folder and save and close. Something's not right there, right? So just as you see here, if I go to configuration, so this is everything that's in there. Going to save and close at the top it's not working. All right, so 30 issues it says. 30 page errors. And there is a configure Akeeba Backup JavaScript configuration.min.js. So I don't know what's going on there. Let's keep looking at settings. All right, site transfer wizard. Here's a little wizard. Prerequisites: a complete full site backup. No such backup is found. Click the Backup Now button to take a new backup. Now, the reason no backup is found is because Bjorn says, I think it's the JInstaller you used the file from Joomla.org. Yeah, I don't. Do you think maybe it's because of its Softaculous install? Is that what you mean? The reason that I don't have a backup here is because if I go to manage backups, you'll see that I have my backups on Dropbox. Now this happens every now and then with Akeeba Backup too. See my list of backups? Here's one from July the 1st that's actually sitting there. All right, it's okay, it's here. it just kind of got out of the loop somehow of management. So here's an example where I just go and I click that and I would delete that backup. Frees up space in the server. Yes. Now, I don't have something local that Akeeba Backup knows of for restoring. Let's go to manage remotely stored files. This is on my Dropbox, so I'm going to fetch it back to the server. It's going to bring it back. Bjorn says you think it's the J installer I used. Use the file from Joomla.org. Yeah, we could try that. We could try that later on. All right, so I have fetched this back. It will now show up green here. And so let's go back to the control panel and site transfer wizard. A complete full site backup. Okay, that's it. And connection to the new site. This is interesting. I've never used this before. Let's transfer this to our site. That's J4 core. Let's do this one here. All right. I've never used this before. Okay. And the address J4 core basic Joomla. Okay. Check. Here I can put in my information for the I can put in my information for transferring this. Oh, interesting. I've never gone into here. So I could actually put FTP information in for that site, and it would restore this backup of this site to a new location. Interesting. And very interesting. I would have to put in this FTP information here because if I go manually follow the instructions in the video to transfer your site manually. Okay, so they've got a video there in Akeeba. Great. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Let's just take a quick look. There it is. There we go. Cool. They've got a video. Great. Now, or we could use FTP. And there you go. So I put in the host name for the FTP for that site, the port, the username and password of your FTP account, the directory, and you would transfer it over, over FTP or SFTP, and your file and your site would get set up there. I'll have to try that sometime. I don't have this information. It'd be very hard to be putting this on a live stream without giving out information. So anyway, so there is a tool in the Pro version that will help you to transfer a site to another server. Now, of course, you can just, what I've always done is download the backup and then upload the backup to the new server and then run the restore. But there is that. Great. Manage backups, configuration, profiles management. Those are all options that we have over here. Right. Let's close. Even close is not working there. Yeah, isn't that interesting? Okay. Well, there we go. We'll get back to control panel here. All right. View the log. Troubleshooter Alice. That's something that is new. So that's Troubleshooter Alice. If we click on that, no log files or failed backups were found. All right. So if Alice is a tool to analyze the log files of failed backups. All right. So I have no failed backups. But let's make a failed backup. Let's go to default backup profile, one click. It starts to run, but I have to keep this window open. So let's go like that. And we go to the control panel and we go refresh. And let's go to the Alice Troubleshooter. Still no failed thing there. Let's go manage backups. See, this is here. I wonder if I can stop this somehow. No. I think we just have to wait for that to fail. Anyways, if you have a failed backup, you could go to a log to see what that was. Nice. You can view a log here. What's a log look like? If you transfer to a new server, you have to change the A record also. I think this is. I think this would be transferring this existing site to a new server, and then it would be just working on that. And then when you point at your domain to the new server, everything would fix and take over. But so certainly, if you're moving to another server and your records are not kept on where you're hosting, then you would have to change the IP of the A record. Say if you had it on Cloudflare. But actually just copying it over wouldn't change it. But if anything you put on a different server, if it's the same, if you're moving a site the same domain to a new server, then you would definitely need to change where it points to. But that's not related to the backup. Let's take a look at this backup here. They've got 11 megabytes. Let's see what's going on in the log here. All right. So you can read sort of what is going on. Again, like a lot of log files, there's a ton of things in here I don't understand. But this, of course, is a log that worked anyways. So, all right, there's a tool to view the log files. All right. A&B has a core and professional kickstart tool. Yeah. I didn't know that there was a professional one too. I've only ever just used the free one. All right, my browser's a bit locked up here with downloading that big file. Schedule automatic backups. Here's an advanced thing. Now you can do it by a cron job, and you would do that in your hosting control panel. And what you would set up is something like this in your cron: path to PHP, home, basic Joomla, basic Jew, public HTML. You would take that code. Let's go into control panel here. And if I search for cron jobs, I can set up a cron job like this, and you're going to have to figure it out for your own server. But I can add a cron job, and do I even have one? Oh, here's one I've got down here that's working. Akeeba Backup. Let's see. So scroll down. User local bin PHP, path to PHP, home, basic Jew, public HTML. Here's the route to run Akeeba Backup for this particular install, this folder, and it runs on the hour at midnight, the 0 hour, every day, every month, every weekend. All right, so in my control panel, it just runs around and around and around, looks for something to run, and it says, oh, I should run this rule, and it will run a backup. And it's always at midnight, which means that if we go back to here and go to components, let's go back to control panel, manage backups. The time of the backup is always, so here, 2041, 2041, 2041. These are all run at the same time. That's not 00, of course. but it is running at the same time. I don't know, maybe that cron's not working. I don't know, because I've been using mysites.guru to fire these off. So you can schedule automatic backups using this cron interface. You can do it using Joomla scheduled tasks. All right, so you can go into the scheduled task thing in Joomla, and you can take a backup. Or an Akeeba Backup CLI only backup. So you could look to see what's involved. Now, I have found that backups, I experimented with this a long time ago, backups that were being run by the Akeeba Backup cron took a lot longer than this running from cron or being fired from somewhere else. So, all right, so let's go to profile configuration. No. Close. Import archives. Import archives from S3 from Amazon. Okay. If you're going to import an archive, you can do it from a directory on on your server. So if you had your archive set and saved in the home file, in the root of your hosting account, you could then find it and then scan for files, and then you could import it into Akeeba so it knows to do a restore. So that's handy. Remember, we talked about storing the backup in the below the root folder of your Joomla install. Well, if even if you've uploaded a restore there and you want to use Akeeba to restore it, you somehow have to make Akeeba aware of it, just like we saw with that log troubleshooter. And this does it from S3. Of course, you have to have an access key and a secret key and be set up to connect to and then connect to S3, and then you can get things back from that storage. So, all right, so now something that we didn't look at in the free version, let's just go back, I just realized that, is this. If we go to the control panel, we have this option down here to exclude database tables and to exclude files and directories. And it is based on your the profile that you are working with. And so, you know, Imran mentioned he once had an Akeeba backup that was 10 gigabytes. Well, let's go into the files and database exclusion area. Let's suppose that you have a bunch of files, you have some videos uploaded into your file space that you're hosting, but you don't want to back up that video because you have it on your computer. If you ever lost it, you would just upload it again. So you don't want to have your, let's say it's a 500 megabyte video, which would be insane to have in your hosting, but let's say you've got it there. You don't want it. And so you would go down to, let's pretend the modules folder is actually the video folder. You would go back and you could exclude that directory, and then that will not be backed up inside of your Akeeba backup. Now let's fix that right away. You can also go into, now let's say let's go into images. You can also navigate down into a folder, and let's say you had your video inside the images. You wanted to back up all your images but not that video. You would go into the folder where it was and go over and say, hey, here's this file here. I don't want to back that particular file up, and it will be excluded. So in that way, in that way you can in that way you keep the size of your backups down by excluding some things. Now, of course, no, that worked. Okay, now you can also do the same thing with database table exclusions. So let's suppose that you have ACY mailing and you've sent out lots of newsletters to lots of people, and the user statistics table is huge. Let's say it's 100 megabytes. And it's like, you could live without that if you lose it. You don't need that to be part of the you don't need that to be part of your Akeeba backup. Then you could go down to the table, which you know that it is. Let's pretend it's this, it would be ACY and user statistics. Over here, it even shows you 20. I think that might be, the number of rows in it. So you can see that down the side. So you would go and say, hey, I don't need that table, and you could start to exclude those tables. All right. So that's very good too. Now, if you're using Migrate Me For, this is very handy area in Akeeba, because when you run Migrate Me For, it makes a copy of your site in a folder called MM4, and it makes a copy of your site. It makes a copy of all the tables in your database. So, but then when you run Akeeba on your root and your live site, it backs up the copy of your site in MM4 in the table. So if you really don't want your backup to become bloated or backing up that, you would go in and exclude the MM4 folder, and likewise, if you're using stageit, you would exclude the stageit folder. You might also maybe on the site have some Moodle stuff installed or some other program running inside the root as well that's bridged to Joomla. You can exclude it from that as well. Here's a quick click up here. You can exclude all non-core tables, and that would and notice Akeeba Backup excludes itself, excludes the backup location. So for instance, this is non-core tables. Okay, we excluded those. Let's go back to control panel. Let's go back to files and directories exclusion, and check this. If we go to administrator, components, Akeeba Backup. Look, it automatically excludes the backup folder that is selected in that's core there. All right, so that is in the free version. Now if we go over to the pro version, we have a few things here. So for instance, multiple database definitions. You can in here back up not only the database for your core Joomla install, but you can also back up the database, another database on your server. So let's suppose that, for instance, in that example with Moodle, Moodle has its own database. And so if you wanted to be backing up your Moodle database as well, you could put in the information for your Moodle database, and it would be included in backups. That's offsite directory exclusion. So now you can also back up locations that are not part of the site. So for instance, if we look here, I could go to this below the site root. All right, so it's not in public HTML. I could go here and I say, hey, I want to back up this cache folder also as well whenever I do backups. So if you ever have something running in the outside, you can do that. Imran says Akeeba can make a split backup for big files. That's a good point. You can set Akeeba to split the backups, and you do that in, let's go back to the free version here, go to configuration, let's see, the split size, oops, come on, MySQL, Smart Scanner, format, yeah, so here's split size. Here we've got 2 gigabytes. So if your backup's more than 2 gigabytes, it would split it up. We can change that to, if it's any, change that to 500 megabytes, 547 in this case. It would break the backup into smaller files. That can be more manageable as well. All right, so that takes care of offsite directories. Let's just close that. And now what else we have? So we've seen that database tables exclusion files. Here you have the option to exclude tables based on regex. So if you know regex, you can exclude a table and put in and say, hey, all of the tables that start with mm4 underscore, exclude those from the backup. So that would be very handy too. I should learn what that regex is so I can make a video about that for Akeeba Backup. All right, so and regex the files exclusions as well. So maybe you just don't want to back up any files that are any files that have a name MP3. You don't want to back up your MP3 files, all right? Because you have a backup on your own computer, so you can exclude an MP3 file. And you have the options here: exclude a file, exclude a directory, skip directories, skip files. But you could set up a regex. So you have a lot of control in the Pro version over whether or not on quickly selecting if a file or a table should be backed up. In the free version, you have to go through and manually click all the ones. Look at this. We have our last backup here failed. That means we can go to Alice Troubleshooter, and there's our failed one. But we won't bother looking at that. But that worked nicely. Stopping it did cause it to fail. All right, so then the last thing that we can look at here is the configuration. And what you'll see here is under the basic configuration, this is in the Pro version, we still have those options for the basic stuff, but the advanced one, still database backup engine is still MySQL, all right. Our settings here. Now our smart scanner, those settings. Now here's our archiver engine. Now notice here with JPA, now we have a bunch of other options. We can archive the files over direct FTP to somewhere. All right. We can transfer the site files to a remote server so they don't get compressed, they just get sent. All right. We can do FTP over curl. Michael says Akeeba Backup is a great tool for busy sites and hourly backups. That said, you have a client. That said, you've saved the client's bacon more than once with Jet Backup. If the previous day's backup will do. Yes, Jet Backup is a backup tool on a server. I have it on one of my servers, and the nice thing is that Jet Backup will not only back up. You can use Jet Backup to back up an entire cPanel, entire hosting account to somewhere, to Dropbox and off of the server. So yeah, Jet Backup is a really cool tool as well. So direct FTP, all of these. Now notice here's our zip format. You can back it up with zip format if you want it. Yes, Imran has to go. He's got some pain in his hand. He had a fall a couple of weeks ago. His cast is off though. All right, Imran, you take care of yourself. All right, so part size for split archives, custom. So if you're going to split it up into different chunks, you've got that option there. All right, so so if you're using zip form, you'd have to know what some of these things are. So I just leave things. Now, zip using zip archive class. That I don't know either. Don't know much about that. So then let's just go back to JPA, the recommended. Now here's our post-processing engine. Now I just need to change one thing here. Let me just check this. Because when I go to... yeah. Okay. I may have already shown that. So I'm going to have to change this here anyways. All right. So, all right. I'll show this and I'll change this later on. Full screen. There we go. All right. So we have these options at different places that you can now archive, and you can change this on each profile to where you can send your backup once it's been done. You can send it by email. can't imagine. Oh, remember, split archive size of 1 to 2 megabytes. You risk backup failure due to timeouts and memory outage. So I would not recommend sending a backup by email. Unless, of course, someone wants to receive one particular table or wants to receive, one particular table from the backup by email, then there you go. Still, though, the challenge would be them receiving something that's big. So, but interesting option there. Uploading to Amazon S3. And basically what we're going to see with each of these options is you're going to have to do the setup for where you're sending things and have your setup in there properly. So they've got Backblaze, Box.com, CloudMe, DreamObject, Dropbox. Yeah, that's where I send mine. Google Drive, sure. Google Storage Legacy, Microsoft OneDrive or OneDrive for Business. Again, so let's just go into here. You would have to click authentication, and then you get a code from that particular service that you would put down an access token, refresh token, and the directory is where you store it. So of all these options here, let's see, and then you've got a remote FTP server for sending the backup. So if you want to just FTP somewhere, open OVH object storage, lots and lots of options here. Now I use Dropbox, and now with Dropbox here, I've got this access token here. Now this access there ends in it. There you go. There's the full one. If I go authentication start here, I get a new access token, a new key. Now you can't see that, but I have another window pop up on my screen that gives me the access token to copy. Right, and I will copy that, and then I would paste that access token in there. That's my new one for this particular site. And then I get a refresh token, and I can go Control V, and when I save this, that will be where I can that will be the code that my site uses, that Akeeba uses to talk to Dropbox, and it will place the backup where I want it, and I actually have it in a folder in my Dropbox account called Site Backups / and this one's Basic Joomla. Now that folder Site Backups, I have it excluded on my computer Dropbox, so that doesn't get downloaded to my computer, it just sits in the cloud. So if I ever do need to get a site out of this, I just go on to Dropbox and I download it to my computer, and then I can save it. Can you automate that downloads to an external hard drive? That's obviously attached via the USB port. I don't think that you can, Valerie. But if you want the backup to automatically go to your computer, then you could use Dropbox and not exclude that folder. It would just show up, and then you could just copy it. Then you could just copy it over to a thumb drive quite easily. So the option of so I'm backing up lots of Joomla sites to my Dropbox. But if you have one site that you just back up every now and then, or if you just have one site or a couple sites, and you could set it to back up to Dropbox, and then or OneDrive and then it will automatically sync to your computer, and it's there, and then it's just a matter of copying and pasting onto your thumb drive. All right, so here again, are you going embedded restoration script? I just always leave this alone. If you want, here's one. If you want to upload Kickstart to the remote storage, you could say yes, just so it's there handy. And virtual, if you have configured any offsite directories, their contents will appear inside the archive as subdirectories of this virtual directory. All right, I don't know what that is, but that would probably be the thing. Now, what I offer to my clients is that if they want to have a backup off of the server, access to a copy of their site that's not on the server, then you have two options. One option is that you could go in and set it up to say go to Dropbox or to a OneDrive folder and share that OneDrive folder with your client or your Dropbox folder. And then that way they always have the access there on their site. You could create a profile too and give them instructions on how they could log into their site, and they could go and they could log in with their Dropbox account and have that profile and just have it directly put on their Dropbox. And then you could say, hey, there it is. So I actually have a client that is backing up their site to their own space, which is great. Now, I think I set this up so that there's also a profile that backs up to my Dropbox, just so I've got their back in case they say, oh, I can't find this. Can you take care of this and restore this? I can say, oh yeah, I've got a backup there as well. So I think this is one of the best features of Pro version, is the ability to upload to these services, because then you can set up a cron, it runs regularly, and then as it runs regularly, you can then go and it'll just be getting backed up off of the server. Now let me just show you. Let me just go off screen here, and I'm going to log into mysites.guru, and I'm going to sign in, and I'm going to go to Joomla sites, and I'm going to go to basic Joomla tutorials, and I think that this is. Yeah, so here is the mysites.guru interface showing my basicjoomla.com site. And here, if I go to backup, it takes a look at where my most recent backups are. And look, it's even telling me that a backup failed. I'm probably going to get an email telling me that that failed. But I also have a daily I have backups set up here. Daily backup, it runs at 3:41. Oh, that's okay. This is the one that's running. I don't think that other cron is working. This is the backup that is working, and at 3:41 a.m., which is probably whatever the time was, 20 something. I don't know whatever set up for. Oh, that might be server time on my server. But you can add other schedules, and I can say, hey, I want to back up this particular another profile. I only have one on that site. You can give it a name, you can enable it, and then you can just sort of click, and this will always be at 457. 457. What's the 22 there? Oh, monthly, on the 22nd day of every month. But if I change that to star, then that would be at 457 every week. Yeah, Greenwich. My site's is Greenwich Mean Time, but I noticed that my backups were always said 2041, and I think that is the server time, which would put it about 5 hours off. I think that's right. I think it's central. But anyways, so this is where you, I mean, basically, as long as the thing is running, I just kind of figure out where it's running, and I time it so it's running at night wherever the client is. But anyway, so you can have multiple backups, and you can have information here, and you can have alerts as well if something doesn't happen. So that's another a nice way to run the crons, and which is nice because if I go and view backups, I think I can see when all backups are scheduled. Scheduled backups for all sites. Yes, so that is a cool feature as well. All right, so yeah, let's try this. Anyway, so that's a look at all the settings of the different Akeebas. I maybe have missed something. In the Pro version, are there more options? We did see that this applies only to the professional. Yes, so There we go. There's a secret word. That's if you want to run the cron from a URL. Not much of a secret word anymore, is it? But that's if you were going to fire the cron from a URL, then you would use that secret word. There's a place where you can set that in. I think that mysites.guru uses that. Backup time zone, default Joomla behavior. You can set the time zone that that your server is in, so that's interesting. Check for failed backups, and it will alert you if there's failed backups. So, yeah. All right, so I'm going to have to go through and change a few things on basic Joomla here after the live stream just to change those things. All right. So, yeah, lots and lots and lots of things that you can do with Akeeba Backup, especially the professional version, and it is good. Akeeba Backup. What does Akeeba Backup cost? Let's see. Do they have a cost there? Let me just, I need to change again to here because I am logged in. So I want to log out. I just want to make sure I don't show something by mistake. And okay, we'll go full screen and corner. Here's Akeeba Backup. Akeeba.com. Akeeba Backup. And subscribe for pro access. And the cost is €50 a year. And that's pretty good price, pretty good protection, and for a lot of things you want to do, especially if you're managing a number of sites. If you want to organize your sites to just run from cron, that would be good. Now let's see products. I mentioned about Kickstart. Compatible with does provided free of charge. What is in view compatibility requirements? I wonder what's in the pro access of Kickstart. Oh, Amazon S3 integration. Install your favorite CMS. You can use Kickstart to download and install your favorite CMS, be it Joomla, WordPress, Drupal, or anything else that comes in a zip file. Yeah. And download backup archives directly from a URL. So if it's web accessible, it's Kickstart ready. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Michael says it's underneath. Cool. So you can use Kickstart to download and install your favorite CMS, be it Joomla, Drupal, or anything else. And so that's interesting because the free version you can upload it, but does this mean Kickstart will just download it? Oh, and renewal was half price. Yes. Yeah, that's a nice practice that a lot of extensions have, is that you can just renew. You can renew and be half price. Now, you said there's also a bundle, right? Products, security products, and let me just turn this off here. A little phone call I'm getting. Backup products, security products, advanced products. There's a bunch of things that he has here too. Keep it unite, engage. What is that? Fast and powerful comment system for Joomla. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know he had a comment system. What else does he have here? Unite. Unattended backup restoration. A command line application created for power users. Automatically restore one or more multiple sites. Useful for mass site creation or maintaining demo sites. Oh, that's interesting. So if you have a website and you wanted to you want people to go on and to be able to test it, but every half hour you want it to be refreshed and to have your site restored to what it was, you can use this. Interesting. Interesting. All right, so cool. Social login. It's compatible with Joomla 3 and Joomla 4. An easy social login solution for Joomla. Make it even easier for your users to create an account. Use it. Connect with Facebook, Google Plus, or Twitter. Kickstart. Yeah, we're looking at that. Akeeba Solo. Extension around since 2006. Millions of downloads. Countless praise in the Joomla extensions. 3, single goal. Backup, restore, and transfer your site in a snap. Okay. Admin tools for WordPress. He has admin tools for Joomla. And that is a security product that does a bunch of things. Optimize database tables, redirect easily, change permissions. Yeah. And also, I'm going to say this. The odd time that I've had to move a WordPress site for a client, I like Akeeba because, you know, WordPress in the database, it has the full URL of the site. Now, if you're moving it somewhere else, or if you're taking a backup, you know, I use Akeeba Backup. I also have a core install of Joomla with set up the way that I like. I make an Akeeba Backup, and so when I start a new project, I don't start with a clean install of Joomla. I start with my favorite setup Joomla, and so I'll take a backup of it and I'll restore it somewhere. Well, if you're restoring a WordPress site to a new server and you need to change some information, or you're using that as a backup, Akeeba Backup it's as easy to move a WordPress site as it is to move a Joomla site. And if you're moving a WordPress site, just trying to do it manually, it's a nightmare. Yeah, so that's Solo. Valerie is to backup, restore, and transfer your site in a snap. So I think it might just be, okay, let's see, one-click backup. Yep. Customizable backup profiles, migrate, move, duplicate, automatic backups. Let's see, all features, one-click backup, self-contained backup archives. Is it like Lite? Is it like Akeeba Backup Lite? I don't know. I've only just seen it today myself, but it's a single goal: backup, restore, transfer your site in a snap. Let's look at the documentation here. They've got video tutorials here. Well, I just used the Valerie, I just used the Akeeba Backup, so obviously that's what it's doing, but maybe it's just simpler and pared down. All right. Anyways, it's a great tool to have, the free version or the pro version. Shall we just, out of curiosity's sake, see if it was Softaculous that was causing the issue on the old site? Why don't we do that? Let's reset that. Turn to overview. Okay, I'm going to remove this one right here. Remove installation. Okay. Let's do an old school raw install. We're going to take that out. Let's close my basic Joomla. I'm going to leave that open because I need to fix that after. Okay. Let's close that, and we'll leave that. I'll leave that open as a reminder to myself. Okay. And we don't, we're going to be going into the cron there. So we'll get out of Softaculous. So let's go to cPanel. Let's go to File Manager, J4 Core, and let's just strip out the these things here. Probably should have tried that by taking out the user any and that. Let's just get rid of the user any and PHP any and everything, everything there. So let's confirm. That's gone. All right, so that's upload Joomla. I have that here on my computer, so we don't have to go and download it. Joomla 4. Here is the stable full package. We will upload that. All right, so we'll go back to that folder. I'm going to right click and extract. And now we have that there. Now we can go to Joomla 4, j4core.basicjoomla.com, hit enter. We'll go through the setup here. The real name of your super user will be Tim. Username will be CyberSalt, and that's pick a password. Let me just change screens here. Just okay. Okay, so my email address there, got my password. Now I need to create a database for this. So I'm just going to create a quick database in the cPanel here. We'll go to the wizard. Databases, PHP, MySQL database. There we go, the wizard. Let's just call this J4 test for the database. And the username should be something different. Test J4. All right, I'm going to copy that. Basic J4 test, right? The password, I'm just going to use the password generator. I'm going to delete this right after. So I'm going to copy that, copied it, and use that there. Everybody knows it, but that's all right. Okay, so now I've got a username J4, basic test J4. Now, if you guys were super fast, you could go and install this already. Copy. I'm going to give permissions, all privileges to that user. Go to next step, and that's good. So then I can go back to the Joomla installer, and just I'm going to, again, turn this off just while as I populate information in here. All right, so the username, J4 test, the password that I selected was this one here. Copy password. All right, the Joomla database name is this one here, J4 test. All right, now I can switch you back here. All right, so I put in the username and password. I go install Joomla. Set this username for super user account. Oh, connector returned. Access denied. Oh my goodness. What did I do wrong here? Oh, the database, the username I did wrong. Test J4 install. Oh, you're kidding me. All right, hold on. Back to just here. What have we got here? Oh, I did the wrong password. I did the wrong password. Now here we go. Okay, let's open the administrator. I use the same username as password as before. There we go. All right, so I'm going to exit that. Now I'm going to go System, Manage Install Extensions. We're going to go Browse. We're going to go to Joomla 4, which you can't see, but I'm going to go to Akeeba. I'm going to install the core. Now let's go to Components. Let's go to Akeeba Backup. Control panel. It's going to run the configuration wizard. And we're going to see if using that core JInstaller allows us to change things on Akeeba. I suspect it's going to be the same. Now I did delete the user .ini and the php.ini from that site too. So, all right, so let's go to configuration. Let's go to here. Let's change just to the root folder and go use and save. Ah, that one worked. And we'll go save, change that profile. Oh, and that worked too. So I'm gonna say that the either something was wrong on the other Joomla site that I had, or maybe the PHP ini or user files in there. Let's just reload. Were something. Yeah, Bjorn says he never uses shortcuts. Let's try. No, we should be able to duplicate that then. So if we go to cPanel, go to Softaculous. Now we can go here. Now watch, I can actually import installation, that one I just made. This is really nice for removing Joomla. All right, manual installation scan. It's going to find one. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it found a bunch. Good. Now I'm going to go back to Softaculous, to here. I'm going to see them all. Now here's the J4 core one that I just did today. And I'm going to remove it. Remove installation. Return to overview. Now I'm going to install. I'm going to install J4 core. All right. Now I have to paste my password in here. So we'll change the screen there. Username is going to be is that. Password, I'm looking here, I think it's going to be that. And we'll go install. All right, now we're in there, components. Let's go system. Let's go install, browse, Akeeba core. And now we're going to components, Akeeba Backup, control panel, run the configuration wizard. Fun fact, everybody, tomorrow is September the 28th, and that will be 25 years since, well, it's 25th anniversary of my company. And the reason that I started at that is it was the day that I sent out my first newsletter on a site called OneList, because I'd been sending jokes to family members and in emails by putting all their addresses in the to or the copy or whatever. And I found this, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to create this list and start sending jokes out to my family, just because that would be fun to try. I was really enjoying sending out emails, but also I was always trying things to see if they have an application for the churches. I was chairman of chairman of the National Communications Committee. So the stuff I played around with, not only did I have fun do it for myself, but I wanted to see what I could use or other churches could use for communications and ministry and things like that. And so October the 28th, Mike was the password BlueRec61. Is this 61? And I told someone the other day that I was in the 62 truck. I always thought that the number was 62, but anyways, but that was September 28th, 1998 that I sent that first email out, and that I am grateful has grown into to where my business is today. So I am very thankful to God for the blessing of that, and so many great things that come out of it, including this channel and the friendships that I have here. So that is 25 years. So all right, so let's go to configuration. Let's see if we can change it to this. That's working. Aha. So it was thanks Bjorn. So it wasn't that it was installed by Softaculous. So it's either something that I've broken on the site. I may have installed Akeeba and uninstalled or installed and done a bunch of things there. It might also be that, remember we had the PHP and user ini files that were in there I deleted. So it could have been that. Or or it could be just because I was trying to do this on a live stream, and so something was destined to fail. So anyways, so that's good to know. I like installing with Softaculous, but only for these quick tutorials, to make quick demo sites for people. Just to give a friend that I showed Joomla to last week, I've created an account for him, and I just wanted him to see the basic things. I didn't want to be overwhelmed by what I add to all my Joomla installs. So that is good, but otherwise I'm installing it using Akeeba Backup. Yes, Ivor, did I try Mambo when you started with CMS? I did. So my basically how I ended up in Joomla was that I was making web pages first with Microsoft Front Page, and I don't know if you remember Microsoft Front Page, but Microsoft Front Page. And what did Microsoft Front Page look like? I wonder if there's any videos of it running. Oh, here we go. Yeah, let's just check this out here. We'll run this in the background here. I'll mute the sound here. And so this video is a year ago, but this shows what it was like to make a page with Microsoft Front Page. So yeah, you would buy this box. This would be a great blast from the past to watch. And then let's see. Yeah, so here basically is what you had was selecting images and making tables and inserting things. And notice down here you've got a normal and HTML view, a preview, and so that's what I was using. So then next thing was then I started using Dreamweaver, because Dreamweaver was an advanced next level of a web designer, a web tool. But all of my websites were boxy and square, and so I didn't know, but I'd see these beautifully designed sites, like, oh, how are they doing them? I wish I knew how to make sites like that. But I was concentrated still on getting my content on, and the largest my email newsletter ever grew to was about 22,000 subscribers, and I would send them every day to to my site. Eventually send them every day to my site to see a funny cat picture or a funny car picture or sermon illustrations or all kinds of things. And so I really needed to just get my content up. I didn't want to necessarily learn all the code and everything. And as you can tell, I'm still that way. But anyway, so I was using Dreamweaver, and that was great. And then I had a web hosting account in Florida because they would let me send out my newsletter, which was so big because everyone thought if you were sending lots of emails, you must be a spammer. And then, so what I did was they had quick installers, and I installed WordPress, and I couldn't figure it out. And then I saw this Mambo, so I installed it, and it was like, oh, look. And it made sense to me. And then I started... and then I saw that you could buy a template and install a template, and your site would look really nice. And that's how I can do it. So the template's really great. And then basically from there, shortly after, Joomla forked, Mambo forked, and I didn't know which way to go. And I thought, well, reading things up, I thought, well, it looks like the people that are behind the movement and are the power behind it and the thinkers behind it are going with Joomla, so I'll stay with Joomla, and the rest is the rest is history. Bjorn says Dreamweaver too, not good experience. And Bjorn says front page, not good experience. Yeah, but it was, one of my closest friends that I'll have in life is a Salvation Army church planter, and after a meeting of pastors, and I was talking about web pages, and back then I was doing Joomla. I think it was Joomla, but he came out to me. He says, "Can I show you something? I have a problem with the web page." He was building a web page for his church, and we're talking, this is like I don't know, 2002, 2003. I'm not sure. I was using either Mambo or Joomla at the time, but he said, "Can I show you something?" He opens up his laptop. He's got front page, and he's got this image, and it's like, how? He says, "I keep moving this over here, but I want it centered, but it keeps moving back. What can I do?" And I saw that he was using Microsoft Front Page, and I said to him, "Have I got something to show you?" And I did. I showed him Joomla, and he started using Joomla for his site, and so that was a lot of fun. So I should probably, I probably shouldn't run this too much here, or else you'll get a notice that I'm using his material on my channel. Anyways, hey, thanks for posting old views of Microsoft Front Page, whoever you are. So let's see here. Let's go to, this would be, here we go. So anyways, and actually he is retiring in July and moving back to my island, and I'm hoping that we resume our webpage stuff together. But anyway, so that's how I ended up using that. Dreamweaver was good because Dreamweaver was the thing that really I liked about Dreamweaver and advanced for me was that you could have a section of code, and you can embed it in your page. Like you could have a footer. Footer.php or footer.htm, and you could have that on a basically like a template layout, not templates like we know them, but just a layout, and you could change just that one footer somewhere, and it would change on all the pages, which was so great because I like that automation. I like that, of course, is why I like Joomla so much too. But to change something in one place and have it change everywhere it was great because I wanted everything concise. I didn't want to have things. Michael says, you can remember splitting images and tables to make a site look good before mobile phones and tablets. Yeah, used to. Now you know what? Here, let's just have a little bit of while we're hanging out here. I'm going to show you. Let's go here. Let's go to, and I don't know if you guys have ever used this, but the Wayback Machine. Wayback Machine. I think it might be .org. Yeah. So watch. You can put in a URL for your site. So let's go Cybersalt. This would be my cybersalt.org site. All right. And look, here are backups of my cybersalt.org site that I can look at right back to beginning of 99. So let's just click on 1999 and look at this. Here's what my site, a snapshot at 9:46 in the morning. Who knows what time we're on, January the 25th, 1999. And I still have these files in place, some of them, on my server, and so that's why the background still loads. The hits, 230 hits since November 20th, 1998. So I started working on the web page shortly after I got my list going there. Page last updated January 17th, 1999. And this is what it looked. Now my logos are not showing up here, and there's a button not showing up here. But I think I made these buttons. These were individual images. And let's see, when I link on here, I actually have it linking to something called beta. It's probably not going to work. You can navigate through old things here on the site here. So yeah, and this is a beta. So this is a page that I made and that they stored, and this was for a business opportunity that Cybersalt originally was the design. My idea was to start a there's a guy at my church that needed a job. There's a programmer at my church that would, three of us, and I had three of us were going to go in on this idea, create a database for churches looking for pastors, and a database for pastors looking for churches. And but you'll notice here that I've got my onelist.com, which is where I did. Yeah, so Bjorn, that was ugly. It was, yeah, super ugly. But don't forget, this is 1999. Everything was ugly online back in 99. You had GIFs dancing around and music coming on automatically. And yeah, so if I just click back here, let's go and look at where I am at the end of 2000, what the site looks like. Okay, whoops. Yeah, so now I remember making these buttons, and again, this is just a table, and with the column here with the buttons down, and for instance, here's a button that would take you to my website, which had pictures of racing. I don't know why the background is so red, but and we could click and look, and and this is this is an old link to my old host here. Cybersalt.org. Yeah, okay. So but yeah, so I made these buttons, and this little thing here, this is a site member on the Cybersalt web ring. Web rings were a thing back then. This is my USA NetStack. Yeah, that would keep track of traffic. Yeah, so, but of course, yeah, these are just tables. Oh, and look at this. Is this? Oh, you can't see this pop-up, but it's actually trying to play a file name, Ancient of Days. Interesting. I'm going to save that. It's a MIDI file. You want to hear what my site sounded like back then? Let's see if this works. Open with VSC Media Player. Let's see. No. Open with Windows Media Player Legacy. Finish. Recommended saying. Finish. Let's see. Can you hear that desktop audio? No, it's muted. Hold on. This is so great. Oh, hold on for a second. Oh, all right. All right. Tell me if you. Tell me this. So when you went to this site, this music would automatically play. Tell me in chat if you can hear it. All right, I won't torture you anymore. That song, "Ancient of Days," it's a Christian song. I can't remember the words, but anyways, that is what people. That's what people heard when they came onto my site. So wow, that is fun. And then of course MIDI files, yeah, they're not great quality, but that was. And of course, back then, people hadn't figured out you didn't want to have music coming on automatically on a site. But yeah, but that MIDI was that MIDI files were great back then. We loved those, and those animated GIFs or GIFs. That was yeah. So just if we continue this tour here, let's see. Just for fun, let's see. So this is 99. 2000, 2001, 2002. Joomla is 18. So 18 from that. Let's take 315. 2005 for Joomla. So let's see if the page comes up for. Okay, so this is another variation of me in Dreamweaver. All right, so getting better with my buttons. I think. Oh, I bought a program that would make buttons. So I got this gold here. I forget what it was called. All right, so that's let's try this here. Yeah. All right. So still stayed there pretty good. I kind of, again, I just wanted to get my content up, and then yeah. And let's see, 2006. Let's try this. Okay, and then I think what we're getting into here, this will be when I was in Mambo or Joomla. Because, yeah, this is, I wonder if I can view the page source here. Banner, static, archive, web. Oh yeah, so here we go. Cybersalt.org templates, ms_jesus CSS custom CSS. Oh, it's kind of hard because they've got all their stuff in. Oh yeah, no, here we go. Look, so here this link here, cybersalt.org component option, comma, com contact item ID equals 3. So this is either Joomla or it's Mambo. So of course the template's not showing through and the menu's not being displayed properly because the CSS is off. But as you can see now, I've got content across the top. I've got, so this is featured content, 2 items of featured content, 1, 2, 3, 4 items for blog, the more things. So that's where Mambo or Joomla shows up. And then let's see, it's probably because I don't have these graphics on my server anymore. So it's just showing the text. But let's see it load here. Okay, so the site is still growing, and man, this guy's I've been using his stuff for forever. James Snyder. Man, look at that, 2008. That's a long time. So let's just skip forward here to, I don't know what year this will be, but anyways. Oh yeah, so this is, oh yeah, and this is my cybersalt.org site is not changed very much in many years. And I watched what it looks like now, because just last week I had a problem where it was running out of control, taking over resources on the server, so maxed out. And so I did a quick migration to Joomla 4, and here it is. And I still have stuff here that's not working. Let's see, what was it that entertainment cartoons? Yeah, if I click on this content, this is not clicking on this page is not working. So I have to work my way through this. But what I decided I would do is I had to get it going. I got it migrated, did a quick template creator CK template, got it migrated, toasted a bunch of things, and I'm just the other day I changed the font here. But as you can see, like 2012, literally like 11 years, I've not really done anything with the front page content of the site because I've been so busy doing other things. But yeah, so it's so many. Yeah, that was, oh man, I love hearing that MIDI file. I should change that to the exit music, shouldn't I? No, everyone doesn't like the sad music at the end of streams. I should just throw that MIDI file in there and everyone will bail quickly. Anyways, 25 years. Joomla's just, a huge part of those 25 years. But there's other things along the way. I remember learning how to could put ads on a site, and back then you got paid just that people saw them. So if someone went to your page 1,000 times, that was 1,000 views. You would get, I forget what you would get, but yeah, Ivor says no to music. But what you would get is my goal was $1 a day, and that would be a free pizza every month. I thought that would be pretty cool. So that was one. Alan says MIDI forever. That was my first goal, and that was from around 2000, and the tech bubble was just about to burst. But there was, when I would send out my newsletter, I had links that if someone downloaded Firefox, I got $1 US. $1 US if someone downloaded Firefox. There was another thing to speed up your internet connection, and that was on dial-up. That was $1. But there's a bundle. There's 3 things, and I think there's 2 things. If someone downloaded the whole bundle, I got $5 US. My best month for Google AdSense, and also that was also through Google, was like I made $1,500 in a month. I think was my best month in Google. Because I was just sending out emails and saying, hey, you want to speed up your internet connection, click on this. I actually had someone ask me saying, would I run an ad on my site? I joined their affiliate program, and it was for something that some other program. Netscape, yes, I remember that, Ivor. And so I sent it out. I sent out the ad to my list, and he contacted me and says, how many people did you send that to? So yeah, it's good. You know what? It floats our boats, right? there's people out there passionate about all kinds of things, and they enjoy it, and that's good. And we're passionate. I think it's safe to say that anybody who's watched this long, we're passionate about Joomla. We like it. We like the community. We like knowing how it works to the degree that we do. We like what it lets us do. It's awesome that we can make it some side money or a living on it, or helping other people with their web pages. But yeah, it's good, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for everyone here and everyone who's not here, and who's been part of me with this channel and building up this into a business over the years. So anyways, well, I think as much as Alan wants the MIDI file, I will hold on for a second. Let's see. I wonder if I can do that. If I unmute that, and you know what? I think I have my closing music set so that it doesn't play any desktop music. I was going to do the MIDI file on the way out for you, but I don't think I can do that on the fly right now. So we'll just go back to the sad music. But it's kind of relaxing music. I listen to it before I start the stream too, because it's the last thing in OBS that's open when I close it. Yeah, it was fun looking back, Michael. Bjorn, no, please no. Okay, I won't do it. All right. Well, that young man there from 2002, that's 2002, I raced demo trucks. That's before Joomla, but I was doing web stuff there, making web pages for my racing and that. So, all right, everybody, thank you. It's been another good one. So as usual, I hope that wherever you are, be it morning, afternoon, evening, or tomorrow, that this finds you well. Until next time, enjoy your Joomla sites, and God bless.